You may have heard of the hungry pumpkin. Some users online have made fun of this minigame found in Pumpkin World, and have even made YouTube poops based off of it. But what most people don't know is that this minigame has an origin to it. It was based off of a disturbing event that took place at a particular cafe. Nobody knew why this person wasn't banned. But for some reason, the owner of the cafe took a liking to this customer. See, he creeped children out with his gross appearance, perhaps something gained from his terrible eating habits. He would come to this cafe every day because he loved the food there. That wasn't the problem with him at first, but he started to become attached to this cafe after eating there a couple of times. And at first, he started to treat the workers and other customers poorly. If a food dish was slightly off and not how he wanted it to be, he would decline it, sometimes break the plate in rage due to his short temper. Other issues involved him grossing out people by drinking a container of ketchup. He also had terrible hygiene, which made other customers either leave or sit far away from him. Sometimes he would leave the cafe without paying for his meal, but for some reason, that didn't bother the owner. Some people nicknamed him the Pumpkin Man, due to how he looked. They would secretly keep it to themselves because the cafe owner would scold and sometimes kick out people who said anything bad about the Pumpkin Man, claiming he was severely mental and that other people should go easy on him because of it. This even happened when the employees would make legitimate complaints about him, and even when the customers who ate there did the same. And eventually, his behavior took a turn for the worse. The Pumpkin Man walked into the cafe one morning and was about to enjoy a good breakfast, anticipating his pancakes and syrup. There was one problem, though. See, the cafe had a shortage of butter on that day. The whole incident could have been avoided, but the owner pointed to a young couple who he had just given the last of the butter to. The Pumpkin Man went over to the couple and demanded that they give him the last of the butter. They both understandably refused, just to spite him, and he lost his temper. He didn't want to be denied of his meal, so he lashed out at one of them and others who tried to rush in and help when they heard screaming. When they were able to subdue the Pumpkin Man, though, it was too late. The victim who got in the way of his meal stayed in a hospital where he died a few days later. He should have been arrested for this, but the owner was able to get the crooked cops of this small town to look the other way with a bribe. Soon everyone became frightened by the Pumpkin Man and had gotten fed up with his behavior. After that incident was covered up, the Pumpkin Man was only one of the customers who came into the cafe. When the owner saw him come in, he smiled and had a delicious meal ready for him. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about this cafe, hate to say it, you may be disappointed. For if you try to look up this story on Google, it won't be there. Also, that cafe went out of business a few years ago. And after its closing, the owner disappeared and was never seen again. Luckily, the same happened to that Pumpkin Man, which brought joy to everyone who lived around there. However, one of the employees who used to work at that cafe pitched an idea to the people who were designing Pumpkin World. He suggested the idea of a rude pumpkin who was a complete glutton. The designers, thinking this was a clever idea, agreed to this. However, they weren't aware of what was being parodied.